So, as I'm shaking the bars, I'm getting so pissed off that I start cursing these guys out, saying, "You mother bleepers, you mother bleepers, you better give me a phone call, God damn it." And the other prisoner's like, dude, chill out, They're telling me stories about guys who have, made too much trouble in the jail and they've gotten the shit beat out of them, a bunch of guards who come in and just beat the crap out of the guy. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, at least I'll get some attention then. I don't care, I was really pushing it. And eventually, they didn't feel I was worth beating up, because when finally someone just yelled, "Shut the F up!" They weren't, they were just ignoring me. So I'm going crazy in this jail. I'm just sitting there all alone, going nuts. Worrying. And then you get paranoid. Get very paranoid, because no one knows you're in there. It's a really low moment in your life, and you're like, I've worked hard all my life. I've studied hard in school, in high school and elementary school. I studied hard in college. I worked hard. Did all those interviews. I worked hard to get my driver's license. I tried my best to do the right thing in life. And what have I got for all this hard work? I'm sitting here in a jail cell with no way to get out. No way to get out at all. And you're worried. You're like, damn, if I got thrown in jail here for no good reason, what could happen next? Will they try to keep me in jail? Will they keep me here forever? Are they going to throw me into real prison? What the hell is going to happen? They're going to frame me for something? You honestly, if you've never been in that situation, it sounds silly, but you start thinking about that stuff. Really, and to the extent that they give me a meal, and one of the things in the meal was some coffee, and really crappy tasting coffee. Now I started drinking the coffee. I'm like, wait, should I be drinking this? But halfway through the coffee, I'm like, what if they put a drug in here? What if they've laced it with some kind of drug? And then they give me a drug test and they say I've been doing drugs and they throw me in jail. They could be trying to frame me for something here. So I'm like, crap. I was so paranoid that I took a little napkin that I had in there and I dipped it into the coffee, shoved it in my pocket, and I said, okay, this is evidence that if they did drug me, that I've got evidence. I've got some of the coffee in this napkin. I'll have it tested. I'll have proof. You go crazy. And incidentally, just about prison food, it gave me a lunch, and what was it? It was like some kind of macaroni with a meat sauce, really crappy, and I don't know. It was might have been some kind of cold mashed potato-y type of thing, and this is the significant part. There was some chocolate pudding. It was the kind of pudding which was obviously made just by taking some powder, maybe pouring some water into it and mixing it around. It was horrible. It was grainy, and I got halfway through eating. I was hungry, but I got halfway through eating the chocolate pudding, and I said, "Oh, this is awful. I'm just gonna leave the chocolate pudding alone." So I ate everything else, but I put everything else aside. That will come back. That will be a very important part of the story, as you'll soon see. But before I get to that, once again, I wanted to just talk about the camaraderie kind of in a jail, or not camaraderie, but once again, I wanted to give an example of why the folks in the jail are actually some of the nicer people that I met there. Maybe sometime during the evening, a young girl got pulled into jail. She's probably about 16 years old. I didn't actually see her, but I heard her crying and stuff, and she apparently got pulled in for shoplifting. So she's in the jail, and she's crying, and she's crying, and she's crying. It's probably the first time she ever got caught. And the other prisoners actually, they were kind of understanding. They were consoling. They were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I remember the first time I got caught. Oh, yeah, I remember those stories." They're telling the stories about, "Oh, yeah, I stole a car when I was 9 years old. Oh, I remember." And everyone's going off about what their first crime was, and they're having a little, circle talk here. They're going back and forth. It was, I'm sitting here listening to all this going, can you believe this motherfucking shit? This is some interesting stuff. So, yeah, these guys are probably all petty criminals. They're not the kind of people you want hanging around. Maybe, if you go in a store, maybe they're going to rob something from it. Yeah, but, I wouldn't say they're good people because they're criminals, but they do have at least they had a sense of basic decency. They had some empathy for this, girl, crying over there. And maybe they're thinking, maybe it's just like they're in prison, they see a woman and want to, but it's not like they're in different cells. Not like they're going to meet her outside the prison anyway. I mean, who knows? But in any case, I thought it was nice. They're helping her out. She's crying there, and they're consoling her. I mean, that's at least basic human decency. So at least they got that going for them. Yeah, they're petty criminals are in jail, but they seem to have some basic human decency. And speaking of basic human decency, I have that basic human decency of a Mexican prisoner there to thank for my eventual, as I'll term it, escape. In a way, I kind of escaped because, you know, I'm sitting there in jail, and this, once again, I got there at 8 in the morning now, but now it's like around 8 or so at night, and a new guy gets moved into the cell across from me, and I start talking to him, and it turned out that he was also in for, you know, probation because he hadn't paid his parking tickets or speeding tickets or parking tickets, and they're throwing him in jail, but his family was going to come to bail him out. You know, they're going to bail him out relatively soon, so I'm like, you know, damn, you know, and maybe I can talk to this guy, and maybe this guy can help me. Maybe he can call my parents and actually help, and they'll know I'm there. They'll know I'm not dead or something. You know, I was worried about that too. My mom must be going crazy, and they'll know I'm okay, and they'll be able to get some help and be able to get me out of jail. So I start talking to the guy, and he understands my situation, and he offers to make a phone call for me. I'm like, great, you know. But I'm saying to myself, I don't want to risk that I'm going to tell him my phone number. He's going to forget what the phone number is, and then what good will it do? So I'm like, I need to write on something. What the hell do I write with? You know, what the hell do I write on? And so then you get this kind of MacGyver type ingenuity going here. You're like, all right, what can I do? Well, there's toilet paper. All right. What can I write with? All right. And it's not what you're thinking. It's nothing that gross. But I decided I would use the toilet paper as the thing I would write on. So I roll up the toilet paper. I'm like, what do I write with? And if you might remember, there was still chocolate pudding left over. Chocolate pudding is kind of dark. You can, if you know what you're doing, you can write with it. All right, what do I write with? You know, still got the spoon and the fork or whatever, the plastic thing from lunch. You know, so I dip the back end of the spoon into the chocolate pudding, and I slowly but surely write out, you know, with the area code, and I write out the full 10 digits in my phone number, the area code, the other 7 digits. I write them out very slowly, you know, and got it all laid out. And now what do? You sit there and you wait for it to dry. You got to wait about a half hour. You wait for the number to dry. And so it's there. It's dry. You can see the numbers. You know, it's like a piece of toilet paper about yay long, you know, but now the guy's in the cell across from me. How do I get the toilet paper to the guy across from me? What do I do? Well, you know, think about rolling it up into a ball, you know, and throwing it over, but will it really reach? Does it have enough weight to make it? I don't think it does. So I'm looking around, and I steal the styrofoam cup from the coffee, you know. So I pour out the rest of the coffee into the toilet, and I got the styrofoam cup of coffee. Roll up the paper, toilet paper, stick the toilet paper in the cup, you know, and I tell him, okay, here it comes. Take my arm back, and I chuck it, you know, across to the other side of the cell, but it doesn't quite make it. It kind of skids along the ground, and maybe a foot from the bar, from his bars. Thankfully, no one saw it, so he was able to kind of reach with his arm and his foot, and I think he had to reach out with his foot and kind of pull it towards him a little bit. He was a relatively skinny guy, so he was able to kind of pull it towards him a bit, and then get it with his hand. And thankfully, he was able to get, you know, the cup of coffee with the little rolled up paper in it. And so he had the little rolled up paper in it, and, you know, and his family came, and, you know, next thing you know, he was out of jail. And about an hour or so later, even less than that, you know, the hotel manager of the hotel I was staying came and bailed me out because the guy had gotten the message out to my parents. We never got a chance to properly thank the guy. We tried to find the guy and, you know, like, give him some monetary reward, tell him how much happy we were, but I mean, not the hotel manager, I mean the guy, the prisoner. His name was Ruben. I remember that much. So, Ruben, thank you very much. Thank you so much for helping me get out of jail in 1 day instead of 3 days. Any case, that's the story. I'm going to take a quick little break and give you a quick little epilogue, but yeah, that's how I escaped from jail.